Hello guys, and today we're going to be going over some of the new features that Diablo 3 has posted so far and what Blizzard has done. So we're going to be talking about first the Paragon 2.0 system, then we're going to be talking about the loot, then we're going to be talking about the Mystic, and then we're going to talk about the new adventure mode style of the game. So we're going to be starting off with the Paragon system. So Diablo 3 had the Paragon system, which was basically once you hit 60, it was kind of like an end game leveling system so that you can get increased magic find and gold find so you have a higher chance of finding loot, because Diablo 3's loot system sucked. So in order to make it more interesting, they put it so that you can get a higher chance of finding more loot so that you can eventually find that one good item from hours of farming. Well, the Paragon 2.0 system, the old Paragon system is going to be useless now because the Loot 2.0 system, and we're going to go more in depth with that also. But now the Paragon 2.0 system, it was redone into a kind of like an endgame character uniqueness system, where you can actually allocate points to 4 different main areas of your character, which is core, which is basically your normal stats at this point. Attack, which I don't know what it's going to do, I haven't seen much into it, but I'm guessing it's going to be like crit damage and all those things. And then defense is going to be like your magic resistance and all that stuff, and utility is going to probably be like magic find, gold find, movement speed, things that are not really going to help you but more just like aid you in a passive way, I guess you can say. So yeah, and also you can see that you give every level, you get points in each one. You get, I think it's like 5 points a level in each one. It's like level 1 you get 5 in core, level 2 you get 5 in attack, level 3 you get 5 in defense, and like that, and it keeps repeating. I don't know if it's going to be exactly like that, but they said there's going to be a certain system that every level you get 5 points for one of the selections. So you get, like, let's say when you hit level 20 you get 5 points for defense to allocate there, which is a pretty cool system. And yeah, that's pretty much the Paragon system. And also there's no level cap, which the reason why I think there is no level cap is because they want to make it so there's a ladder in the game. So because we already data mined the information and they show there's a ladder being announced for the game. So what I think they're doing is they're going to make a ladder to see who's, like in Diablo 2, to see who's the best paladin or the best sorcerer, the best barbarian or druid or whatever. Same thing here, they're going to see who's the best witch, sorry, I'm all over the place, the best demon hunter, the best barbarian, the best witch doctor, the best wizard and all that, and now the best crusader and monk, which is pretty cool. So they're going to probably make it unlimited so that people can keep leveling up their people forever until the ladder ends, and then they see what's their ranking in the game. So that's my theory on why it's going to be unlimited, so people can rank their heroes, and so there's no real cap to the ladder. You can keep leveling up all you want, so you can see who's the best and who's the best and strongest hero of that region. And I heard it's going to be a hardcore and softcore ladder, so it's going to be really interesting to see. And that might bring back a couple more people that went on the Path of Exile, because Path of Exile has the whole race thing, where you do the race events where you see who's the best at a certain race or whatever. And they're gonna bring back basically the ladder system from Diablo 2 and Diablo 3. Next, we're gonna talk about the loot system. So the loot system, they're calling it Loot 2.0, and basically alongside the removal of the auction house, they're gonna redo the loot system. And what it's basically going to do is this. First off, drops are going to make sense. So basically, if you drop a sword, that sword's going to probably have either strength or dexterity. Dexterity for the monk and strength for the barbarian. Drops are going to make sense. I'm pretty sure we're never going to see a strength bow or an intelligence sword ever again, because that was just silly in Diablo 3, how you'd kill a bunch of monsters, you get a bunch of rares, you go to the Book of Cain, identify them, and you get strength wands, intelligence staffs, strength bows, and it's like, what the hell are these stats? It's these don't make any sense, and it would kind of make sense if it was like Path of Exile, because Path of Exile you can build whatever the hell you want, but this is Diablo 3 where the game is kind of locked down to classes. So if you're going to make a game lock down the classes, you need to make your items lock down for those classes too. and they didn't do that. They basically made the items roll whatever the fuck they wanted, which is retarded. So basically they're gonna fix that. They're also gonna make rares and magics and whites. Basically all items have a less chance of dropping, and they're gonna increase the chances of legendaries dropping a little bit more. So based on the console version, where legendaries drop a lot more, I'm guessing you're going to treat legendaries like uniques in Diablo 2 now, where uniques, and if you guys remember, uniques in Diablo 2 were basically legendaries back then. They were the gold color items and they had really good stats. They're going to basically treat legendaries like uniques now, how they drop. They drop, they pretty much drop like mostly every boss battle. I remember a lot of uniques dropping in boss battles and stuff, so I'm pretty sure they're gonna treat it like uniques now, where they're not common, but they're not they're a bit on the rare side basically, and they're gonna treat rares like much less than they are now, because nowadays if you play Diablo 3 you can get like a full inventory of rares within like 20 minutes of farming, and then you identify all of them, they're all crap. Blizzard wants to fix that by with this new loot system reducing the amount of rares greatly. They're gonna make it so that in a whole run you can probably get like 8-10 rares, which is actually kind of fair. That's pretty much like going into Diablo 2's numbers in terms of rarities and uniques and all that, and they'll make sense. The drops are gonna make sense, so that you're not gonna be there like thinking, why the hell does this bow have intelligence? Like what is the, so now the bow, that's going to be like, oh, this bow has dexterity but on a high roll. That's a more logical, bad item. Because I'm not, us as Diablo fans, we don't want perfect loot drops, no. But we want logical bad loot. We don't want like a sword with intelligence. That's just like, the fuck are these guys smoking? A sword with a low roll of dexterity and strength would be like, okay, yeah, it's just a bad item, throw it away. But we want to be sure that these loot tables make sense, so that we know that when we get the high rolls, we get good items. So that's what basically Blizzard's doing. Also, as you can see, there's yellow stats because they have this thing now called Smart Drops, that now there's a chance of an item having class-specific affixes on them. So like an example, this Dead Man's Legacy quiver, it has specific Demon Hunter attributes because it's for Demon Hunter, the quiver. It's pretty cool. So it's basically the Loot 2.0 system, and as you can see, it requires level 70. So as you can see, the level cap for Reaper of Souls has gone up to 70. Interesting. Next up, we're going to talk about the Mystic, and there's a little bit of information to soak up in this picture. First off, as you can see, the UI, the orb interface, I call it, the bottom screen. As you can see, the stained glass next to the health bar and next to the resource bar have turned blue, and it just has this lighter feel, which is the Reaper of Souls interface, or UI, I guess, which is pretty cool. That's how Blizzard's always been. Blizzard's always changed the interface a bit when the expansions come to kind of give that expansion feel. And as you can see, there's a big blue button called Paragon under the level, which is probably your Paragon menu where you can access your Paragon stats and all that. There's also, and in the items, there's also green items, and that's a good thing. I'm assuming that Blizzard finally gave set pieces the green color for the background and not the brown color. Sounds like a silly thing, but it makes sense. I mean, why the hell is a set piece going to be brown in the background? It's not a legendary, it's a set piece. So they made him green finally. And if you notice, some of the items have little purple blotches on them. That's because those items were transmogrified. As you can see here in the tabs, you'll see the transmogrification tab on the enchant menu. And also there's a little sword with like a little circular arrow thing going on. That's the enchant part, where you can actually enchant weapons to change their stats, which is a good thing, because I can't tell you how many times in Diablo 3 I found an item that's just one stat short, or just one socket short, and this system is going to finally let you do that. And the good thing is it requires materials, which is great, because it shouldn't be free. That's stupid. So I'm glad that they're doing this. And also, if you notice, look at the stats area where the details is. There's damage now toughness and healing. So I guess they got rid of physical and magic damage and just combined it into this toughness number. I don't know how it's gonna work, but that's pretty interesting. So I guess it makes it easier for people to see, like, you know, oh, I have 20,000 toughness, I can take on this guy, or in this case 510,000 toughness. Pretty interesting. But yeah, this entire screen looks awesome. And the next picture I have is adventure mode. So we're going to be talking now about adventure mode. So we already talked about the Mystic, and that's pretty cool. Now adventure mode. So the problem with Diablo 3 now is that there's no real fun endgame. The endgame of Diablo 3 is basically choosing a certain quest to do a certain part or to do a certain run. And that's not fun, you know. Diablo 2 had this sandbox feel to it, in which you can continue on questing, or you can do runs of previous bosses and gave good loot, or you can do a run of an whole act. You can do a run of Act 1, you can do a run of Act 2, you can do a run of Act 3, and then when you're ready you can go forth and do Act 4 or Act 5. Well, this you're going to bring that back by splitting the game into two main categories. The campaign section, which is where you play through the storyline of Diablo 3 as it says, and then adventure, which is play bounties and explore. So basically, I like this idea, and I'll explain why. I can't tell you how many times I hated to make a new character in Diablo. It sucked, because the gameplay's fine. It's the story. You have to go through the story to do everything, and it's like, oh my gosh, I don't want to go through this anymore. So adventure mode lets you go through, you can either go through the story again, or you can completely start a new adventure. So basically, this is good for people that want to do the game for the ladder system. So you don't have to worry about the story. You can just, you know, make a new ladder character, jump into adventure mode, and just start farming loot and start doing the end games, content and stuff. It's a good way to just jump right in the game and get the loot you want, which is cool. So now you don't have to go through Diablo 3's camp story to get to the end game. That's pretty cool. So if you've already gone through the story, then you can just jump right into the adventure, which is awesome. So that's a cool system. Also, this next picture shows the bounty system. Basically, the adventure mode, I forgot to say this, it allows travel through all acts. You can go to any act you want. You can go from Act 1 to Act 5, from Act 5 to Act 3, you get it. And every act has bounties, and basically bounties are like bonuses that'll happen. Like if you're, like, let's say you're farming Act 2 and you open the map and there's a bounty to kill, in this case Burras. Well, actually that's a picture of Act 1, but you get the idea. Basically, you'll get bounties on those teleport areas to go kill people, and then I'm guessing they'll give you like a loot bonus and stuff, which is pretty cool. So bounties, besides farming in adventure mode, you can also do bounties which give you even more loot. So this is just all awesomeness that I'm seeing from Diablo 3. And finally, we're going to be talking about the Nephilim Rift system. Basically, Nephilim Rifts, which were previously called loot runs and Nephilim trials and stuff, whatever. Basically, while farming in adventure mode, there's a chance of enemies dropping this Nephilim orb. This orb rift, I think it's called, or something. It's this blue ball basically that you can pick up, and you go back to town and you open it, and it activates a Nephilim rift, which you enter. And Nephilim rifts are completely randomized dungeons, ranging from 1 to 10 levels, ranging from any atmosphere, any weather, any monster density, many amount of bosses, anything. It's basically just like it's randomization to the max. It kind of reminds me of that Torchlight 2 endgame where you can open portals and they give you randomized dungeons. Similar system, just completely randomized dungeons, and they give you insane loot, and that is awesome. Here's a picture of it also, probably, if you weren't noticing. So yes, I think Diablo 3, yeah, that's pretty much it. We talked about the Paragon system, the loot system, the Enchantress, and the Mystic, sorry, not the Enchantress, the Mystic. We talked about the new game mode, we talked about the new, we talked about a bit of the ladder system that was theorized by Blizzard, and they say they're going to implement it. And we also talked about Nephilim Rifts. That's basically Diablo 3 Rift Souls, guys. It sounds really promising, and I hope that this game succeeds. Thanks for watching.